Yo guys, what is up? Welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video, we're going to be recapping the top teams from the testing on the Pioneer server for the SYLVAN squad of Thalassa, because it is now out for the global server. The key damage dealer for Thalassa SYLVAN squad is Parisa, so if you have her, you're going to be in a good position to get a top score. There is another team that was come up with by Rymz, which I'm going to share, that doesn't do that much worse than this without Parisa in case you don't have her. So Parisa's charms are going to be the quick charms, Lenya on the butcher charms, Rainier on the mystic charms, but really you just need to get his quality bonus, so any mythic charms can work, Haywin on the recovering charms, and finally you have Florabelle on the Gale charms for her damage, but Florabelle's damage is a bit low, so the charms are not a huge priority with the Tide Call spell. So here's the team formation. The interesting thing is Lenya is not on the buff tile. I think maybe there would be a way and more team testing to make Lenya work on the buff tile, because then her damage will be higher. But for right now, this is the top performing team. On team number 2, we have Lily on the buff tile with the resonating spell, and Brian on the other buff tile slot. So Lily's charms are overall the most important over the both two teams, but I'm assuming you already have her charms by now because they are the charms you use on her in Dream Realm as well. The sorcery charms. Brian here is running the eagle charms, but really I think you can run any charm, and really again your quality bonus on him is the most important, because that is going to cause the boss to take more damage. And then finally Iron with the cheetah charms. Those will allow him to cast his skills more frequently by giving him haste. So those are the team formations. We're going to take a look at the replay to see it in action, and then I will show you the other top performing teams and teams without Parisa. So I think the biggest way that this team could get improved in the future with testing, maybe after it comes live to global server, is somehow fitting Lenya on the buff tile, because that is going to power up her damage output. However, there are problems with that. Like, it is much more optimal having Rainier position swap Lenya up to the front and also giving the attack charms onto Parisa, because Parisa is the overall hardest hitting damage dealer in the team. And that is why her charms are going to be pretty important if you can get them, but if you can, again, don't really worry about it, and you can run any charms that you have for her. Florabelle deals a lot of damage. Haywin needs to keep the team alive, and so Haywin, in some cases, even at a higher level exclusive equipment like +10 for more damage reduction and dispelling debuffs, this might be important for getting a top score, because the problem with this team, as you're seeing, is it gets really low to dying in the end. Parisa almost died there. If Parisa would have died there, the damage would have been really low in this overall team, and you wouldn't get a top score. So it will depend on RNG. You'll have to run it a few times in order to get the top score. Tide Call spell increases the damage that the boss will take and also reduces the damage that the boss deals to your team. That's why it seems like the best option for right now, but maybe there's a way to somehow... It's going to be difficult to make frontline spell work, because with the Wilders there aren't that many heroes going into the front line. But with the Rainier position swap, you can actually take a normally backline hero into the front line as well. Okay, let's take a look at the replay of the team number 2. So team number 2 is... This team is not going to be as difficult to survive. One problem is you have no healer, and there are teams using Damien on team number 2 rather than Iron, which I'm going to show you as well. And that can keep the team alive for the whole fight. This team... Towards the end, Brian might die, but Brian is not your major damage source. It's mainly Lily. Brian is mainly like a debuffer with his quality bonus, and even without a perfect charm set, he's still going to deal decent damage just by being on the buff tile. Iron is good because he provides the magical defense reduction onto the boss, increasing Lily's and Brian's damage. But because of this, because Brian is dying at the end, Eagle Charms do seem better for him, so going for Eagle Charms will be a good choice for him. He survives because of the skill in his kit. Basically, he's kind of like immune to the first attack, which would normally kill him. But either way, you just want Lily May to survive towards the end. Brian will die, just like Rhys was always dying in the Dauntless Squad team that we saw yesterday. It's kind of the same for Brian. Towards the end, with 20 seconds left, he is going to go down, but he's done enough up until that point. Okay, so this is 51.5 billion damage. Maybe Eagle Charms are optimal, because then he can maybe survive for longer compared to the other offensive charm options. But again, I think even if you don't have charms on him, I still think he will be the best hero to run. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the formation of team number 2. The second best formation that has been shared here, it is the team 1 is exactly identical, and team 2 is also identical. So these are exactly the same teams. But there is another version with Leica that got 102 billion, and this is going to be a good option if you don't have, for example, Florabelle built, because I think there are going to be quite a lot of people out there without Florabelle, and then this is going to be a good team that you can try. Leica on the other buff tile rather than Florabelle, and Leica ends up doing almost as much damage as Florabelle, and also she powers up the attack speed of your allies, and so they end up dealing more. And on team number 2, you could have went for Iron here. Like, he could have went for Iron, just like the other team we saw, Lily May, Brian, Iron, with resonating on Lily May. When we took a look at the damage chart, yeah, I think that team does better. So I would recommend the Iron team to at least try it. But if it isn't working for you, you can go for this Damien team version as well. This is another thing to try. And for a lot of people, this might be the best option if your team is dying too early. Okay, now one issue is if you don't have Lenya, then there aren't that many team options, good team options left. Basically, no one has done a lot of testing without Lenya. So when we have a good team without Lenya, then I will share that with you guys as well. But for right now, I guess what you would have to do is, if we take a look at the team formation, you would have to run the strong overall heroes. So rather than Lenya, it would have to be something like, we have the Leica here. It could be Leica, Parisa, and Florabelle, for example. Like, maybe you could run a team like this, or even Leica up in the front. You could try a team like this, maybe. Obviously, Greatsword spell does not do well with Parisa. Maybe try it with the Tide Call spell. But you can, like, sub in Leica, maybe instead of the Lenya, if that is not, if she's not built on your account. And team number 2, you just run these heroes. Lily May, Brian. Brian can work at low ascension. He's mainly there for his quality bonus. Even Iron can work at low ascension if you have him there. But Lily May is important to have ascended, which a lot of people should have. And then for this team, Parisa is important to have ascended. And then your other damage dealer, whether it be Lenya or Florabelle. And even if need be, like, let's say you don't even have Florabelle built, you can definitely go for a team like this. Like, you can go for Damien plus Haywin on the same team, and the team is going to basically almost guaranteed survive with the double healers. But these are basically the heroes that you want to try to run: Lenya, Florabelle, Damien, and then all the other heroes that we have fielded on the 2 teams. Okay, now I'm going to show you the team which Rymz came up with, and I did a run of it, and we got 98.5 billion damage, which is really good. And this is if you don't have Parisa, because Parisa is the best damage dealer, but if you don't have her, this is a really good option. And it's gonna be the Greatsword spell with Lenya on the buff tile, and Rainier giving the attack charms to Lenya. And in this team, Lenya ended up dealing 24 billion, and this is kind of what I wanted to make happen with the Parisa team, because when we see the Parisa team, we're not running Lenya on the buff tile, but it just isn't working in that team. But for this team, it is working. But you're going to need Haywin to be like maybe plus 10 exclusive equipment, and maybe even the optimal charms, which are the recovering charms, so that she can keep your team and Lenya alive for long enough. And team number 2 is going to be exactly what we've seen before. Basically, team number 2 is kind of solved. This is the team you want to run. Even with low ascension Brian, low ascension Iron is going to work. You just need to get them the mythic charms, and most importantly, Brian, any mythic charm, and then Lily May, the sorcery charms. And for team number 1, we talked about the best charms. Basically, Butcher, Gale onto Florabelle, recovering onto Haywin, Mystic onto Rainier, but he can have any mythic charms, and Leica with the mystic charms. So anyway, guys, hopefully this was helpful, and good luck getting a top score for Thalassa SYLVAN squad. And if there is any improved teams, I will share them with you guys as soon as it is out on global server. But thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you guys in the next video, and until then, everyone, peace out for now.